Hello, everyone. This is Mountain coming to you live from Lake Purgatory. The date is Sunday, September 11th. What we're seeing here is just a nice, calm lake. What we hear in the background is Isabella deciding to have a massive gulp of water as soon as I sit down and hit record. And as we know, there is no redos or reshoots of these videos. So here I am sitting in the boat. I was out fishing not too long ago. And we're not going to spend too much time down here. It's a really clear sky. It has been all day. So there's not much to see as far as, pink sky or beautiful sky. Might be able to make out there's some ripples in the water there. The fish are kind of going. This is typically the time I usually go out fishing. It's right now it's peak dusk, but yeah, I went fishing a little earlier. The sun was out. Like I said, there's no clouds in the sky, so I just kind of enjoyed the warmth of the sun. I didn't catch anything, which is pretty part and parcel. I'm getting used to that now. But I did catch a fish 2 weeks ago, which we've mentioned even last week as well. Since then, I've put two more fish in the boat. Both of them have been too small for me to keep. So I've put them back in the water. I've had a few bites and a couple fish on the line that have managed to jump off. And there's your fishing update. So yeah, I'm right next to the water. The bugs are a little bit more active down here, but there's very, very little in the way of bugs compared to how there was back through July and late June. I am feeling pretty good today. Not really in an amazingly awesome mood, but I'm feeling pretty decent. Hunting has been very, very good lately. I actually decided to limit myself to only 2 birds per hunt now. As I said, it's September 11th. There's a chance that I'll be leaving here at the end of the month, and there's really no need for me to take more than a couple of birds when I go out. And I didn't get anything today, and I didn't get anything yesterday. But yesterday I did eat a spruce grouse from the night before when I got two. And I actually ran into a huge gang of them. I guess you would call it a flock. And yeah. So there's about 6 or 7 on the ground, and I halted and I tried to get the girls to stop. Isabella did, and Samantha decided that having a run at 7 spruce grouse was worth getting in trouble for. So they all went up in the trees, and I had clear view of about 4, maybe 5 of them. 2 of them were right very next to each other, and I just picked the biggest one and I shot it, and then I left the rest and continued on. So yeah, I'm limiting myself to 2 spruce grouse per hunt. And like I said, I might be leaving at the end of the month. That's dependent on whether or not my friend comes up here. He said back in August that he was going to. If you've watched my previous videos, you're probably all too aware of all of this. So I'm going to go back up to the fire, sit down, do a little FaceTime, and finish off the video. Before I do, you can see over here, I'm just going to zoom in real quick. Well, it didn't, not very clear on my screen. Anyways, that is where Samantha is right now. There's a couple of ducks over there. The ducks usually hang out there. Speaking of ducks, there was a couple groups of them right here in the immediate area earlier this week. I decided not to take shots at them because there was 4, so it was like, 2 couples, and I don't know, I'm getting pretty weird about stuff like that. But yeah, so I didn't shoot the pair of 4, but then there was another group of 3, and they were down around this area. And I took a couple shots at them, but I didn't have any success, and I didn't really press it very hard. I don't know, whatever. I've been eating so many spruce grouse, it just kind of seems like every time there's been ducks down here, I've had spruce grouse up, like, waiting for me at the cabin. So just before I get out of here, I'll walk to the edge of the boat. Right over there, right over that crest where you can see it's dark there, that is where the sun sets. So right dead center of the screen right there, that's exactly to the east from where I am. And there's your last view of the lake. And we'll head back up now. I got a couple sticks waiting beside the fire so we can get it stoked. And yeah, leave the girls to do their thing. They probably might go chase the ducks again. I don't know. So I was like thinking about my video and what I'm going to say and what I'm going to do. And I really don't have much to say actually, but I always say that before I end up rambling for another 20 minutes. So as you can see, not much has changed, but there is one thing that you may recognize from last week, my blue barrel. And just while I sit down here, I'm going to turn my attention towards the camera. Throw a couple sticks in here. I burn my hands about 2 or 3 times a day. It's all good. So, hopefully we can get a clear view of me in the fire. There's no way for me to confirm whether or not we are. This is your typical Sam, just came right up. Sniffing the other side of the phone. Okay, Sam, that's good for you. Go away. Sam shot. She's wet. Okay, go on. Good girl. So yeah, it was earlier this week, and I was sitting here, got up a little bit earlier than normal, and by a little bit, I mean a very little bit. Like I got up about 40 minutes earlier than I normally do. And I was out here making my tea, thinking about what I'm going to do for cooking. And I was looking at the lake and I was looking at the sky, and I'm pretty good at judging what the weather is and what the lake is going to do depending on the weather. And it was pure overcast. There was no sun, no rain, just cloud, and the lake was dead calm. It wasn't calm like it is right now, but as far as it goes, because most days it's pretty choppy out there, it was pretty calm. So I just drank a cup of tea, mowed a bowl of porridge, and hopped in the boat, and just went for it. And I actually ended up making it to the other side of the lake in about an hour and 15 minutes, which is good time. And because the current here goes from west to east in the lake, so when I'm going to the west side, I am paddling against the current. So an hour and 15 was pretty good time. I got to the other side. As you guys know, I've been there, very recently, so I kind of had an idea of where everything was and what I was going to do with it. And yeah, so I loaded up the boat. I took the girls with me in the boat on the way over there. And then I unloaded them and myself, docked the boat, and brought everything to it, loaded the boat up. The girls know the lake really well, so I just let them follow me home. They were on shore and I was in the boat. So they kind of ran through the forest and they poked their head out into the lake every once in a while just to check and see where I was. And yeah, I got literally every single thing from the other side of the lake now. I have a little cleanup I need to do over there, like pulling some nails from some trees. And I'd like to take that sign down that says the name of the lake on it, and bring it back over here. But that's literally like no work at all. And I could factor that into a hunt. And I was going to kind of do that this week, but I was just didn't really get motivated to. On the trail from the cabin to my old camp, excuse me, I just finished eating dinner, so excuse me, but yeah, halfway through the trail, it gets to be like really, really, really muddy, and you need to wear big boots throughout there, so I just haven't been motivated to like change my steel toes into big boots and go back over there. I mean, I did that last Sunday when I took the video for you guys, so whatever. I mean, it's not like I don't do it. I just, when I brought all this stuff over here, I had to like sort it all out, and the barrel was full, and some of the stuff in there, I guess I put away a little bit wet, so it was kind of like condensation and moisture in there. There's another thing I did, which I'm not terribly proud of, but it was something that needed to be done, and so I did it. But basically, I had a big burn, and I burned all the garbage, the cans, and everything like that. Obviously, cans don't melt down, but I clean them. That cleans them out pretty good. And I put the tin aside, and yeah, I cleaned out all the basically whatever plastic I had to burn, and I hated doing that here. But there's first of all, it wasn't even all just mine. Other people have left their shit behind here, excuse my language, and just been sticking it in that cabin, the one that's right here, the dilapidated one, whatever. And so yeah, I mean, it wasn't like there was a ton of stuff, but I guess it's not going out in the plane. And if I leave in October, as I've told you before, I'm going to be taking so much of my own stuff with me. There's no room for garbage. Like, the helicopter's not huge, and I'm going to have the girls with me. Can you please stay on the fire? Thank you. Yeah, I'll have the girls with me, and so yeah, I don't have room to take it out or anywhere to throw it on the other side. It's kind of be weird to ask the helicopter pilot, like, "Hey, can I throw this garbage out in your tiny little bin?" So yeah, I made the executive decision. This is a long ramble about burning garbage, but I really did feel bad doing it. But then I kind of justified it with like, well, what do you think they do with garbage in, in the city? They bury it and then they build houses on it later, or sometimes they burn it. It depends, right? So, I mean, ultimately, it wasn't like it was a big black billowing smoke of fire and garbage and blah, blah. It wasn't that bad. It's just, I don't know. I didn't like doing it. I don't like disrespecting this land. I don't like doing anything that, you know, anyways, I actually did go through the fire and take out all the metal and all the bits that didn't burn, and I put them aside, and I do plan to take that out, which will equal about one garbage bag as opposed to, 3 or 4, a little less than that actually, but anyways, whatever, it's done. And yeah, I'm kind of making preparations to leave, and I didn't want to leave a bunch of garbage here sitting in this little shed, and basically just for the next person to come. There were also things like from the other side, there were tents and tent poles and nets and fishing rods and all sorts of stuff like that. So I dealt with all that. I put it all away. And yeah, that was pretty much my week. I didn't really do much else. I mean, it took me 3 hours, well, not 3 hours, but a little less than 3 hours to go back and forth on the lake, about 2.5. And then I had to load all this stuff. And the camp that I had on the other side is not right next to the lake. It's not quite a ways, but it's a 5 or 10 minute walk. So yeah, I had to take everything from one side to the other and then bring it over here, then unload it. It pretty much took all day to do that. And then the next couple days, I just kind of dealt with that and the garbage. Garden update. Not gonna do any more garden updates. There's your garden update. I don't know what happened, but like, it's got to be the soil. I mean, I know I've talked about this before. Obviously, it's not entirely my fault. I'm so embarrassed about it too. That's why I'm not even going to show the garden. The potatoes look fine. I don't think they're going to be grown very much. September 21st to the 28th is the time when I'm supposed to be able to unearth them, and they're supposed to be completely done. So, when I do that, I will take some pictures of my potatoes or take a video of the potatoes and how they showed up. But the beans just,
Like, it's really weird too because you hear me in the beginning, I'm like, wow, those beans are looking pretty good. It seems like they're gonna grow. And I was happy with that, but yeah, I think that the soil lacks so much nutrient. And again, I'm not a professional gardener by any stretch. I'm way more of a fisherman than I'm a gardener, and I haven't caught a fish I can eat for 2 weeks. So I don't know. I hope you guys are having a good laugh with me on that. But yeah, garden just utter failure. So yeah. Dogs are doing really good. Isabella got another face full of porcupine. I was lying in bed. I let them out early. And I know they run around and they bark at, like, birds or whatever throughout the morning. So I can kind of tell when they're barking on nothing and or when there actually is something that they're focused on or whatnot. So I heard Sam because she's the siren, and I was like, all right, well, I guess I better get up and go see what that is. It's not like I'm sleeping. I'm just kind of like lying there. Like, that's one thing I really enjoy about here is like I don't have to get up at a certain time. So if I want to lie in bed for half an hour and not do anything besides just lie there, usually what happens is I actually lie there until I start thinking about something that I don't want to think about. And then I'm like, okay, well, now it's time for me to get up. So yeah, I got up and I looked outside, and by that time they were back here. And Isabella, I could see through the window, and she was just pawing her face, and could tell already she had a face full of quills. So when I say face full of quills, I mean she probably had about like 10 in her snout, 5 in her mouth, a few on her cheeks, and a couple in her nose. But yeah, it's so funny because and Samantha never, ever, ever comes back with quills in her face. It's always Isabella, and it's happened about 3 times now. I think one time Sam got a quill right deep in her paw, like really deep. I pulled it out with a pair of pliers, and she's totally fine and everything. But I think that she like really learned her lesson on that. She didn't like that at all. So yeah, at least I'm smiling and I'm happy. That's kind of nice. I didn't anticipate that too much during the video. I had a pretty rough day. I kind of woke up with some negative thoughts and everything. I got a couple things I wanted to say. I'll try to see if I can remember each one of them. One thing I wanted to say is one thing I've noticed that's really weird is every night. Oh, that's another thing too. I'm this week I moved the fires at night inside. I guess after last video I took there, I think it was even on Sunday night or it might have been the very next night, but um, it was just cold in the cabin. It's getting really cool at night here. I mean, the considering that I was swimming in the lake 2 weeks ago and today I'm outside in a sweater, yeah, I mean, the temperature has really dropped here. But anyways, what I was trying to say is that, when it's nighttime, like past 8 o'clock, I am like pretty like really happy. Like, oh, I want to stay here. I'm happy. Oh, I got my fire going inside now. Oh, I'm reading my book. I'm toasty warm. I got tea on the fireplace, and I'm going outside and I'm looking at the moon. It was a beautiful full moon. It was like the moon was full for 3 nights this week. I mean, I know that's not likely the case. I mean, I don't know very much about astronomy, but yeah, it was like it was bright outside. Like there's no light pollution here, right? So I can see the stars really well. The moon really was lighting everything up. I mean, I could see clear across the lake at like 1 in the morning, which is really cool. And so yeah, I just like at nighttime I'm just feel like I'm totally at peace and happy and in my element, and like I go to bed and I think about like, oh well, if you have to stay or if you're gonna stay, you can do this and you can do that and you can do this and you can limit yourself to one meal a day, and then the dogs can be a little bit more restricted on their food, and we can supplement their food with rice, and like because it's always about food. Food and boredom are my two worst enemies out here. Like food in the sense that I mean, my three staples are rice, beans, and pasta. I make bread, I make chili, or I started making chili this year. I made pancakes. I think I made pancakes on the fire like 3 or 4 nights ago, like the fireplace inside. I made them on the fire out here before too. I mean, I'm a pretty decent cook, so and I don't need a recipe book to cook. Like I've been cooking long enough that I know what's what and the where now who. So yeah, I mean, I make tons and tons of different kinds of food, but it all derives from rice, beans, and pasta. Like I said, I got flour and sugar. So yeah, I mean, I can make bread and I can make pancakes. I have baking powder. I can do different things, but in the long and the short of it, I'm usually eating rice in the morning with some kind of protein, and then pasta with or without protein in the evening. So, actually, one side note here before I continue my rant, which is pretty much what you guys must be tuning into by now, is I actually opened up a can of my Uncle Jim's smoked salmon. He caught and had canned his own salmon, and it was smoked. And I was like, wasn't anticipating it being as good as it was. Like, it might be that I don't really get stuff like that out here, and I just was like, I think I didn't get a bird the day before, so I was like, "You know what? I'm gonna have some protein. I'm gonna open up one of these cans of salmon." And then I ended up getting 2 birds that night. This was, like, 2 or 3 nights ago. Anyways, so yeah, I had a can of my Uncle Jim's salmon, but what I was trying to say before I went on that long tangent there is that, at nighttime, I'm really happy and I feel good, but then the morning comes, I wake up in the morning, it's not like I'm dreading getting up or anything like that, but it's just it becomes so monotonous and, like, it's just so repetitive, like, every morning is the same morning. It's like I wake up. What are you gonna do? Okay, well, I'm thirsty. I'd like to have a cup of tea. Okay, I drink a lot of tea. And so what are you gonna do? I need to start a fire, right? And it brings me back to last winter too, because it's the same thing in the wintertime as it is in the summer. It's just inside versus outside. Because like you basically, this is my routine. I won't try to go on too long, but you know me. I wake up in the morning, I have to get up. So I get up, I get dressed. Then I got to make a fire because I want to have a tea. I need some caffeine and some sugar to get myself going. So I wake up, I get up, I have to go make a fire. So now if it's raining or wet outside, it's a little bit more of a burden, but not too big of a deal. I don't really keep anything aside like, hey, yeah, let's have some dry wood, I mean I could. I have some in the cabin, but no, I can make a fire pretty good. So yeah, I have to come out, I have to make a fire, I make my tea. By the time I'm sipping on my tea, usually I have something cooking in the fire. And then, it's like afternoon and I'm like, okay, well, now what? Right? And it's like I've told you guys before, I either do some kind of project or lately I've been playing my game in the afternoon and just chilling out. Reading is something I do in the afternoon, but mostly at night. I've been doing some really amazing reading. I've got this, I don't know if I talked about this, I can't remember, but I have this book and it's the Longman Anthology of British Literature, and it's 3,000 pages, and it's got like Edmund Spenser and Milton, and it's got Chaucer. It has so much good reading in it, and like it even has like goes. It starts off in the like with Beowulf, just to give you an example. And Beowulf is one of the oldest recorded like basically like a book or a story. Anyways, yeah, I'm rambling again, but anyways, yeah, it's just like wake up in the morning and it's just the same old, same old. Then after 5, I get my prayer done, and now the sun's going down so early. I mean, what time is it now? It's pretty much dark. It's only quarter after 8. And from my mind and the memory that I have from when I started this video, I probably have to cut it pretty quick here. So I'm gonna do that. Um, but yeah, like I do want to go home. I mean, it's really tough because I'm fighting with 2 people, and both of them are me. One of them wants to stay here where everything is certain and very little things are chance. The only real thing that can surprise me is animals at this point and weather. That's really it. And then the other part of me wants to go home and have some Dairy Queen and watch YouTube. Maybe edit some videos that I've been making about staying out here in the middle of the north of British Columbia, which I am basically dead center in the middle of British Columbia right now. Anyways, my fire's dying down. I'm going to transfer it inside, kick back, drink a tea, watch this video, make sure I did everything the way I wanted to. Like I said, it's not scripted, so sorry if I rambled and digressed and went off on a tangent, and maybe I was talking about something and I started talking about something else and I can't even remember now, but you get what you get, and that's what you get. So thanks for the canned salmon, Uncle Jim. That was really good. Mom gave it to me. I'm not sure that you knew that I got it. I don't know. Whatever. And then, yeah, I didn't hear from anybody this week. I'm looking at my Garmin up there. It's been turned on all weekend. Normally I hear from my mom, but I haven't heard anything. But that doesn't bother me. And if I'm only here until the 1st of October, today's the 11th, which means there's only 2 more Sunday videos after this. But I'll probably take a third video on the Saturday if I leave, or maybe he doesn't actually come into town until the 2nd, and then I'll take the video on that Sunday. But anyways, guys, I had a really nice time talking to you, and these videos make me feel so much better, and there's so much help to me, and I hope that there's some help to you. And I was thinking I feel real bad that I won't be able to take any like requests like, "Oh, can you do a video about this? Can you do a video about that?" and then actually demonstrate and show you. Like I think about making a video about how I make a fire or how I do this or how I do that, but I think it's just pretty basic stuff and it's all straightforward, and I'm sure there's plenty of videos out there for you to find. This is about my experience here and how I feel, and like I said this morning, I wasn't feeling very good. Today I'm feeling great. I'm smiling and laughing. It's nighttime now. I'm gonna go finish Edmund Spencer. I'm reading some poetry he wrote to his very, very young wife a few years before he passed away, about their wedding day. 24 hours. It's a poem about that. So I'm gonna read that, and then I'm gonna get into whatever next the Longman anthology has for me, and I'm gonna play some Ocarina of Time. Have a good day.